Hey everyone! All right, let's break down everything you need to know from Chapter 12 to help you absolutely ace your quiz on urban land use. We're going to walk through all the big ideas and the specific questions you'll see so you'll be more than ready. Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to follow the key sections from your quiz. We'll kick things off with the basics, like utilities, then jump into how our cities actually use their land. After that, we'll zoom in on where people live, then check out business and industry, and to wrap it all up, I'll give you some solid tips on how to apply all this stuff to nail those final questions. First step, we're looking at the hidden networks that power our communities and two huge ideas that shape this entire chapter. Honestly, this is the stuff you absolutely have to get right. Okay, your very first quiz question is going to show you this exact picture. Now, the caption talks about the oil pipeline on the ground, but the question asks what other major utility you can see. So look past the pipes and look up. You can't miss them. Those massive towers and power lines are for the electrical supply. And that leads us right into the big question of the whole chapter, and two keywords you 100% need to know: livability and sustainability. Pretty much every decision about how we use land comes back to these two ideas. So what's the real difference between them? Well, it really all comes down to timing. Livability is all about the now. It's the quality of life for people living in a city today. You know, things like safety, good schools, and fun things to do. Sustainability, on the other hand, is all about the future. It's about making sure our kids and our grandkids can have a great quality of life too. And here's the trick, right? Your quiz is going to ask if their goals are the same. And the answer is, not always. The real challenge for any city is finding that perfect balance between making things great for today without messing things up for tomorrow. Okay, let's move on. In this next section, we're going to see how land is actually divided up in a typical Canadian city, and you might be surprised by what takes up the most space. So check out this donut chart, which is based on Barrie, Ontario. Your quiz wants you to pick out the biggest slice of the pie. Now, a lot of people might automatically guess residential. I mean, that's where people live, right? But look closer. At a whopping 34%, the largest category is actually industrial and commercial land. This photo from your textbook is a perfect example of how our cities are kind of like a giant mosaic. You can see all the different land uses smushed together, right next to each other. You've got your neighborhoods with houses, you've got major roads for cars, and you've got those nice patches of green open space, all woven together to make one community. Now let's talk residential land. Even though it wasn't the biggest piece of the pie in Barrie, it's a huge and super important part of any city. I mean, it's where we all live, right? So what decides how many homes get packed into one area? You know, its residential density? Well, it really boils down to two main things. First, the cost of the land. The more expensive the land, the more homes you're going to see squeezed onto it. And second, the age of the neighborhood. Areas that were built way before cars were a thing look totally different from our modern suburbs. Okay, this is a perfect side-by-side from your textbook. On the left, you've got low density. Think of those single-family houses with big backyards. In the middle, that's your medium density, like townhouses. And all the way on the right, that's high density. We're talking high-rise apartment buildings. Now, this is a really key trend your quiz is going to ask you about. So what do you think? True or false? For a long, long time, Toronto was all about single-family homes. But that has changed big time. The answer is a big, fat false. The whole pattern has shifted like crazy towards high-rise and skyscraper construction. And if you need proof, just look at this chart. Check out the sales between 2011 and 2011. Sales of high-rise homes didn't just catch up, they blew past low-rise homes. This really matters because, like the book says, the city is growing up, not out. And that's a key strategy to stop urban sprawl and make city services way more efficient. Okay, let's talk about those charming old neighborhoods. Why is parking an absolute nightmare? Well, it's pretty simple when you think about it. They were built for a world that didn't have cars. People walked to the streetcar to get around. The lots were skinny, the roads were tight, and houses definitely weren't built with driveways. The car just wasn't part of the plan. All right, next up, how do cities plan for businesses and factories? And what happens when you try to stick a loud, stinky factory right next to a quiet neighborhood? Let's get into it. Commercial land use is all about buying and selling stuff. Your textbook uses this idea of order to sort things out. Think of it this way. Lower order goods are the everyday things you grab all the time, like bread and milk. Higher order goods are the big ticket items you buy once in a blue moon, like a new car or a special service like going to see a pro hockey game. For industrial land, location is everything. So your book asks, why would a place like Cornwall, Ontario, be a massive logistics hub for a company like Walmart? Well, the answer isn't about the river or any special rules. It's all about being right smack in the middle, with easy access to huge population centers like Toronto and Montreal. So, what happens when different land uses just don't get along? Like putting a noisy, smelly factory right next to a quiet neighborhood full of families? That's what we call a land use conflict. And yeah, it's a massive headache for city planners. So how do cities stop these fights before they even start? They have a secret weapon called zoning. This map basically lays out the rules for what can be built where. Your quiz is going to point to this map and ask about those green areas labeled with an O. That O stands for open spaces and parkland, which is a great way to create a buffer and give people places to relax. Okay, we're in the home stretch. This final part of your quiz is all about taking these ideas and applying them to your very own community. This is where you get to be the geographer. For this one, you really have to put on your thinking cap and look around your own town or city. How has the explosion of online shopping changed things? Are those small local stores struggling? Are people hitting the mall less often? It's all about connecting these big ideas from the chapter to your own life. Okay, listen up. When that question about land use conflicts pops up on the quiz, here is your 4-step recipe for a perfect score. 1, define what it is. 2, give a real or realistic example from your area. 3, name at least 3 different land uses that are clashing. And 4, explain exactly why they don't get along. You hit those 4 points, you're golden. So look, the big takeaway here isn't just about memorizing a bunch of terms. It's about learning to think like a planner, to think critically and creatively about the places we live. This quote from your textbook just nails it. It's not just about understanding what our cities are right now, but imagining what they could be. And that really leaves us with one final thought. Not just for the quiz, but for, real life. How can you take everything you've learned here and use it to imagine a better, more livable, more sustainable city for the future? Really think about that. You got this. Good luck with your quiz.